Hi guys, and welcome to today's episode of the vlog series. Today we're going to talk to you about top tips for passing the MRCP exams first time. Okay, so there's three parts to the MRCP exam, part 1, part 2 and PACES. When should you sit those exams? Well, the general advice is to sit them as early as you possibly can in your career and get them out of the way. Most people will sit them the part 1 around their F2 year, their part 2 around their CT 1 year, and their PACES by the time they finish their CT 2 year, so they're ready for the specialist training entry. So get them done as early as you can. There's the dates and availability of exams are all available on the MRCP website. As with any examination that you take throughout your career, it is best to prepare as far in advance as you possibly can. The general advice from the doctors that we've spoken to is to try and revise a few questions every day, every evening in the lead up to the exam and start nice and early. So take your time, spread it out over a few months and get those questions in at regular intervals as opposed to leaving it all to the last minute and cramming. Okay, so part 1 and part 2 of the MRCP exams are multiple choice and short answer questions. So it's vitally important to try and revise based on past paper questions. And we're going to put a link up which has got several options of places where you can find good question banks so that you can base your revision on what's most likely to come up in the exams themselves, as opposed to trawling through hundreds of pages of medical notes and all the things you learned at university and all those things. It'd be much easier just to revise from the questions that are likely to come up. Okay, so the general advice that we get from a lot of doctors when they're studying for PACES is that they kind of have to forget the way that they revised for part 1 and part 2. As opposed to it being textbooks and question banks and that kind of thing, PACES is obviously a clinical examination. So the general good advice that we've had from the doctors who have passed it first time has been to actually, rather than putting time in the library, put time in on the wards and getting your practical skills up to scratch. So picking up extra shifts and doing whatever you can to get involved in as many areas of the medicine wards, acute medicine wards in your hospital. Okay, so it's a really good idea to try and sit a mock test a couple of weeks before your actual examinations, particularly for part 1 and 2. So what we would advise is trying to do it in exam conditions, pick up one of the actual past papers from one of the previous sittings and see where you're at, so you can identify anything that you need to go back and revise. And obviously you can also see roughly what score you're getting and whether you need to work double hard for the next couple of weeks or whether you should be okay if you keep up the momentum that you've already got. Okay, so the final tip from one of the doctors that we spoke to about this was to appreciate that you will never score 100% in the examination, nor will you be expected to. There is a pass mark that you need to get to. So much as it may be disheartening to realise that you've got some answers wrong in mock tests or you don't know everything when it comes to practicing past papers, it's important to note that you only need to get to the line. The future mark isn't going to be put on your CV or shown to your medical peers or anything like that. It's a pass or a fail, so just make sure you get to the line. Thanks so much for listening to today's episode of the vlog series. Hopefully it's been helpful. If you are sitting your MRCP exams or you've recently sat them, then please do get in touch and share your results with us. We'd love to know how you've got on.